Hello, and welcome to me voice acting. Dazai and Fyodor should never have been put in the same room. A case study. This is a Fyodor fic. I personally don't ship Fyodor, but it's still very funny. And if you hear any noises, don't mind that. Day 1. Been given the assignment to watch 2 of the most high-profile criminals we're keeping here. Sort of scared. I've heard some rumors that they can manipulate your mind. The day was pretty quiet, though, considering Dazai was put in his cell without incident. Dostoevsky had already been here for a while, but he didn't actually react at all when Dazai was transported. Just went about his reading like usual, refused to even look up. It was kind of odd. Day 1 entry 2. Dazai spent most of the rest of the day just staring at Dostoevsky, sitting on the bed, looking around the cell. I hope he wasn't trying to find some way to die. We were told to take extra precautions for that. But it was alright. It was pretty creepy, though. Day 2. Dostoevsky continued to ignore Dazai until Dazai attempted to initiate a conversation. First, it was just, hey, and a variety of odd pickup lines like, hey, baby, are you a noose? Because I want you to choke me. I think it was humor, but I'm not even sure. Since everything is glass, he can see Dostoevsky showering. The man catcalled him multiple times. I don't know what to say about that. Now I'm certain that Dostoevsky is ignoring him on purpose. He refuses to even make eye contact. I'm beginning to think they might have more of a history than I thought. My job is to watch them, so it might as well be my business. I don't want to take sides, but I think Dostoevsky's right to ignore him. This guy seems like a menace to society. Probably just as well he's stuck in here. Day 2, entry 2. Dazai seems to be very adamant in harassing his cell neighbor until he cracks. I don't know whether to believe the stuff he's saying or not, but he's clearly fully aware of the glass box he's in and how supervised they are. That probably makes it easy to use these weird personal stories as blackmail. I'd been worried they'd try to continue their horrid operations in here, and that they had very sophisticated methods of communication. But it really just seems like Dazai enjoys bothering him. Feels like I shouldn't even be listening, to be honest. He's all like loudly broadcasting, oh, long time no see, Fyodor Dostoevsky, my beloved rival. Glad you decided to talk to me because I still have your nudes, good sir. And let me tell you, you are looking fabulous and I enjoy them every day. Like, keep that shit to yourself, prisoner 576. Holy God almighty, I guess that explains it. Day 3. The prisoner Dazai got out of his bed at 3 a.m. and made pss, pss noises in Dostoevsky's direction until he woke up. Dazai proceeded to ask if he had a crush on anybody. Dostoevsky looked about to scream at him, but he still did not crack. Dazai refrained from attempting anything else for the rest of the day. Sitting there thinking about God only knows. But around lunchtime, he proceeded with no precedent to recite the entirety of infamous internet fanfiction My Immortal from memory. A wonder for his sanity. Fyodor finally made eye contact with Dazai, and they just stared at each other for a long time. Blinking? Thought they might have been using Morse code, those absolute monsters. But I couldn't keep up with it for the life of me. Seeing them apparently cooperating scares me more than Dazai's odd stories. Day 4. I'm still not sure if they're actually talking. Dazai is still saying weird, out-of-pocket shit, but he's calmed down a bit. Now it just doesn't make that much sense at all. I looked up what one bad gloop and she do what I yoinky, but I didn't come up with anything. He might just be insane. Fyodor certainly hasn't said a word. He spends most of the day aimlessly humming and reading. By now he must have finished his book, but he just starts it again whenever he finishes it. Day 4, entry 2. Just relays the pages of the book are blank. What the fuck? How did he even get that? Day 5. I asked Dostoevsky if he wanted to be moved to a different cell. Surprisingly enough, he said no. I asked why. He said he actually enjoys being tormented day and night. I'd say that checks, since the only book he asked for was a copy of the Bible. Asked him why he was reading a blank book. Proceeded to tell me I must need new glasses, because he's clearly reading the Rainbow Fairies book, number 376. I thought he was the sane one, but perhaps I was wrong. Day 6. Maybe those two are the true rainbow fairies. Fruits, if you will. Why do they look at each other like that? They're both humming in harmony right now. Can't tell if they're just gay or if they're gay and also communicating with some brainwaves or whatever. Day 6, entry 2. Oh my god, they're actually talking to each other. Hold on, I'm going to record this. Can't believe you're reading the Bible. Trying to be all pious or something. Gonna repent from the terrorism after you get out. Oh, never mind. This is a life sentence. Look at the little Christian boy reading his little Christian book. Do you want to fuck Jesus? For God's sake, could you shut up for 5 fucking seconds? I'm trying to read. Oh my god, hi. Feel the sign to talk. Hi. Your life sentence is going to be real short if you don't shut up. All the better, and how do you plan to get me out? Why would I do that? Your Bible man says to love thy neighbor, right? I'm your neighbor now. It means you're obligated to make passionate gay love to me at least once. How would I do that? Through glass. Wanna play chess? So they're just playing chess now. Just calling out their moves. These guys are fucking scary. Just having way too much fun with it. Saying stuff like, oh, well then, and and you demon at each other. I'm watching them with one of those virtual chess things. They're freakishly good. Considering their raised heart rate and temperature, this might be the way of having sex. I hate my job so much. Day 7. I don't know whoever's in charge of this around here, but giving Dazai and Dostoevsky cells next to each other was a mistake. From what I've heard, they're literally supposed to be enemies, but they haven't shut up since I started this fucking shift. And they're having an in-depth conversation about chess strategies. What are these nerds doing in maximum security prison? Day 10. What the fuck are they saying? I come to my shift at 5 a.m., right? Yeah, and Dazai is awake, yeah? And he just goes psst, psst to the other guy and starts speaking in Russian. So I pull up Google Translate, but they're just saying nonsense words, blushing and laughing at each other like little girls. The fucking problem with this is that running it through a code maker does give me an answer of what they're saying. However, the problem is they seem to be hosting a game show about dating advice for suicidal people. I hate my job, Day 12. I told security, and they've given a warning to those two to knock it off and speak in plain text because they still suspect there's some separate level of code underneath it. However, their response was that they were just having a little harmless fun, Your Honor, and unless they could break it, there was no way to prove there was another layer of code underneath it. You know, people get bored in prison, not their fault. Security was not impressed. Day 16. Dazai stated to Fyodor that this is the longest time he's ever gone without trying to kill himself. Fyodor told him that was pathetic. Only interaction they had all day. I don't know what to think. Day 20. They seem to have settled a bit into this odd routine. Even though everything between them is very much visible, it seems like I'm being trolled by the longest running joke in existence. I don't get it. And for God's sake, could they please get to the punchline? Every day, they say weirder shit, and at completely random times. They won't talk for half the day, and then all of a sudden, Dazai might lay down on his bed, like he's at a psychiatrist, and go, I don't know, doc, I'm not sure, murder is my biggest issue here. Then Dostoevsky will immediately get the joke and start miming writing things down and asking him absurdly unrelated questions, like, do you think things might have gone better if you hadn't left your wife? And within 2 minutes, they have crafted a more elaborate storyline than any soap opera. If they weren't serving a life sentence, I would say they should be on TV. Me and the other security guards have started placing bets on the Dazai Dostoevsky shenanigans. And I have to say, I've actually managed to make quite a deal of money off those lads. They're all a mite homophobic, so they didn't like my suggestion that the two of them might have had a romantic history. Of course I was right. And it disturbs me greatly. Fyodor felt the need to state that Dazai cries during sex to refute an argument. Unless this is all some elaborate scam as well. Day 31. Dear fucking diary, they're making computer noises now. Day 31 entries 2. I fucking mean it. They are not making noises humans should by any means make. They are beeping. Day 31, entry 3. They won't stop. What the fuck? They just keep laughing at each other. What the hell? This has been going on 10 minutes of straight laughter. Day 32. I have been informed that they were not, in fact, laughing for 10 minutes straight, and that they managed to fuck up the camera signal with the beeping noises. They made it loop. I'm losing my mind. What were they doing? What could they possibly need to do outside of computer supervision when they can talk in fucking beeping? Day 37. They still haven't been able to recover the footage. But at this point, I'm just going to make the executive decision that I don't need to know. I don't need to know. Day 50. I am absolutely baffled at the fact that they still haven't gotten tired of this shit. Talk to the guy up top who's supposed to make sure they know everything those two are saying to each other. But he said there's not much point because they have decoded the Morse code and all they do is talk weird physiology and play chess and sext each other. I hate to say at this point, I expect nothing more from them. I really should be worried they're sharing nuclear launch codes or something, but their reputations don't even fit. Are you telling me the guy who does nothing but brush his hair and hum for 4 hours of the day can kill people with a touch? He faints every other time he stands up. I'm losing my mind in here. Day 59. So they apparently talked to those two on my off shift about how they should be more aware of the security presence and stop trying to mess around with secreted stuff and whatever, since we already figured out what they're saying. I mean, to begin with, that straight up lie. I know no one has a flipping fuck of a clue what they're saying, but they just gave the whole be aware that you're being watched at all times, so calm the fuck down deal. I don't know. I don't think that's gonna work. 62. Day 62. Oof. Update. Unsurprisingly, that made it worse. I tried to tell my boss that telling them to be more aware of the security presence would just encourage them, but he didn't really pay attention to me. Anyway, now they're acting like everything they do is set to a laugh track, and they keep turning to the camera like they're in a fucking reality TV show while they graphically discuss their kinks. Day 65. Oh. Damn, girl, what you got under that fine outfit? This is a prison uniform, and it is a white shirt and white pants. You are also wearing the same outfit. Oh my god, twinning! Pawn to F4. I am not making that noise. I am a minor. Day 68. I asked my boss why we can't just separate them and put them in solitary confinement like any God-fearing mortal. But she said they're supposed to be supervised together, because since they have no link to the outside world, everything they talk about is just free information. I think I'm gonna get fired if I suggest they definitely are contacting the outside. I don't know how, but they are. I think I kind of understand the way they talk now, and if they were saying anything when they talked about gambling for 5 hours, like yesterday it was the giant battle that went down in the Sky Casino, even what they said about it matched the descriptions of the battle, and it was in real time? For fuck's sake, I am simply going to keep my mouth shut from now on. I still have yet to form a hypothesis as to what the fuck a Sigma is. Day 68, entry 2. Looked Sigma up. Is this an Omegaverse thing? I wouldn't be surprised. Not one bit. Day 69. Funny number. I want these two exhibitionists out of my house. They have been role-playing a scene in which they go to a costume ball and stab each other in such great detail that's not even knife play. That's straight up just stabbing. And they're so shameless. I am tired of it. Like half the day they were somehow just managing to somehow waltz without touching each other. How do they not fall over? And like, how are you today, my dear? Very well, except I wish you would not call me dear. I twisted aside to glance towards the glittering chandelier, exposing my lace-wrapped neck. I take that opportunity to reach into the folds of my dress and slide an ornate dagger from where it has been carefully stored and rest the blade against the lace before you can stop me. Stop, you have to roll initiative first. Ah, you got me. Fuck, let me roll. So it appears I am caught, dear sir. I look up and grant you a fiendish smile. Why is it you hesitate when I am under your spell? Well, I have a rare disease called ligma. Dazai, I swear to God. Day 70. I'm not sure if this is supposed to mean anything, but earlier today, Fyodor was just reading a book when he suddenly shot up in his seat like he'd been stabbed. He quickly recovered, but he just, stuck his hand in his pocket for the next hour and kept staring at his book. But his eyes didn't move across the lines. Weirdest thing was, though, when he stuck his hand in his pocket, it didn't seem to make the pocket move. Rather on the contrary, the angle it was stuck in made it look as if it phased right through his ass. Dazai noticed too and just said, "Oh, have you got a clown in your pocket? What on earth does that mean? Is that supposed to be some sort of innuendo?" Dostoevsky responded rather shakily with something like, "He's being a bother, and it's all your fault. Is he talking about a boner or something? I swear to God." Day 76. They seem to be getting tired of publicly embarrassing themselves. Thank God for that. I believe their attempt was to get me to look away from the camera in utter embarrassment. However, I was expressly forbidden from doing that. Day 98. I started yelling at them to shut up at 2 a.m. because I simply cannot take it anymore. Dazai said they would stop talking in the middle of the night if I connected their cells for just 10 minutes. This is a horrifying idea. However, I am honestly tempted to do it. God, how would security know? How would they know? I've had it up to here. Day 100. Fuck, they know they've got me there. They know they've got me now. Fuck. They're good. They're working on me. And they're good at it too. They won't mention it when there's anyone else around or anybody with me. They only do it when I'm god-awful tired and there's practically nothing to stop me except my deteriorating consciousness. They sound like idiots going, "Oh, please, Mr. God, sir, I promise we won't have crazy gay sex or murder each other. We just want to be together. You're homophobic, aren't you? You're homophobic, and you want to keep us star-crossed lovers separate, don't you? That's why." It's downright embarrassing. I'm not going to let them go at each other. I swear, I'm not that bad at my job. However, Day 105. They're getting to me. They've really latched onto this idea, and I don't think it's out of spite anymore, or any kind of humor. To be honest, I don't think it's to conspire to get out or anything either. They can clearly communicate perfectly fine. And if they have any way of getting out, I'm sure they would have done it by now. I mean, it's my job to watch people like this day and night, to watch them slowly lose their minds in a box of glass. I don't like it at all, but what else can you do? But be a security guard with an ability that makes you hyper aware of every detail on a person and in a room. I'm no detective. I'm not cut out for that. So I sit here and fucking watch these convicts rot and laugh at anything to try to make living bearable. Fuck, talking is so hard in this entry. Jesus, dude. Day 108. They held a staring contest today for 10 hours. Fucking 10 hours. I know they have nothing to do, but my lord, the stamina of these bitches. It started out as a laugh, but they just kept going, and Dostoevsky run every single time, even though he always has those gigantic bags under his eyes. Dazai would always blink, and then he would say, "Fyodor cheated," and he would always demand a rematch, and Dostoevsky just kept humoring him. They actually got a lot better as to how long they could do it, but not without Dazai starting to cry, legitimately cry, weep, sob even. Dostoevsky smiled when he cried and said it was sweet. Dazai gave up then, and refused to open his eyes for the rest of the day. Right, I had to cut this in two because I had to go get water. Day 110. I didn't realize I'd managed to fall asleep until I was jolted awake by Dazai banging his head on the glass over and over without a single word. There was no way it would break, and there was a monitor installed to tell me if he seriously hurt himself. I went back to sleep. God, this is the worst. Day 111. Great start to the day with Dazai officially having a concussion and announcing, "Well, at least this is a new record, 120 days. Fyodor clapped. They didn't say anything the rest of the day. They talked all night, pressed up against the glass, didn't sleep at all. I hate them so much. They're so good at this. I'm not going to get fired because I feel bad for actual terrorists. Day 114, fucking fuckity fuck shit. So I let them out, so sue me. So they kept going, ooh, Mr. Gore, please wait us out. So I just went, what about 5 minutes instead? And their eyes lit up and they went 8. So we compromised with 7. And no getting under your stupid bed sheets. I pressed the goddamn button and their vacuum-sealed stupid compartments moved together. I watched them the whole time to make sure they didn't pull any shit, but they really didn't. They just laid there and held each other aggressively. I mean, I get they'd be touch-starved at this point, but, like, starved doesn't even begin to describe it. All they did was hug, but the nails drew blood. They just sat there and tried to find any way they possibly could to hurt each other with their hands. It's eating at me thinking about it. They don't even hate each other. They just kept whispering, thank you, over and over again. Didn't make a fuss when I told them time was up either. Just peeled themselves off each other quietly went back to their beds as the wall came down again. They're covered in bruises and scratches and hickeys and blood. My supervisor came in not 2 minutes later and asked how everything was going, and they'd hidden under their covers. I'm never letting this happen again. Holy shit. Day 140, they're back on their bullshit again, and I hate that I like that better than the sulking. Like nothing happened at all. They're laughing and throwing food at the wall and making dumb jokes. It's like every day in here makes them younger instead of older. It's not even irritating anymore, just absolutely obnoxious. People have to keep coming in and cleaning shit up. It's gotten so bad they're actually thinking of moving them. Day 150, security told them that if they don't shape up, they're going to be put in solitary confinement. Both of them acted like it wouldn't matter. Like, oh, haha, that's great. I can't stand this guy. Absolute worst thing in my life. I'm so tired of looking at him. Get him out of my sight. Haha. But they shut up real quickly. They're right well behaved now. Just sit on their beds with their legs crossed like grade schoolers. They won't even talk in code anymore. That scares me more than anything else. Day 150. I wish they would talk in code again. I don't want to know what they're saying. I know way too much about these guys. I know way too much about their sick fucking fantasies, and I've got to care way too much to stop listening. These guys need therapists. Not couple therapists, Lamau. There's one thing that's working right with them, it's their relationship. Funny how I thought Dazai was harassing him to begin with. It's how he shows affection, I think. They're just very, very fucked up people, as can be evidenced from everything. Day 182. Dazai was laying in bed in the middle of the day and woke up from a nap in an absolute frenzy, smiling. Hey, Fedja, what are your hamsters? He said, and Fyodor just looked at him like he was crazy, which I'm sure would be a correct assumption. What if we're hamsters in a little pet shop, running in our silly little wheels, eating our silly little pet food, and our silly little clear hamster cages right next to each other, and there's just not enough enrichment in our enclosures? You don't understand. What if we're hamsters, Fedja? Boy says this like it's a love confession. Eyes are watering like an anime girl. Dostoevsky tells him to die a painful death. Dazai said, all thanks. Can't take this anymore. They smile a lot more now on day 190 of watching these people. More than they really should. But yeah, they're talking in plain text. But God, I'm getting mental illnesses that aren't even on the books yet from this. And to be honest, I'm legitimately worried, but no one will even listen, since all they do is say weird, out-of-pocket shit, and everyone's been desensitized to it at this point. They've gotten bold enough to start straight-up insinuating things are going to be ending real soon, and I really don't like the sound of it, but they seem happier than ever, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and chatting about their own deaths, the end of the world, details of decaying corpses and genocide, and how they can't wait to see which one of them will kill the other. I should honestly ignore it, to be honest. It's not even close to the weirdest thing they'd ever said, but it was probably their strategy. They don't even need to talk in code. One of these days, these guys are going to blow up a country, and they're going to be the reason why they criminalize gay marriage again. day 204. And they're gone. All day, they're just telepathic and weird. Just the same thing as always. Talking nonchalantly and going, pass me the salt, lol, sure. Throws it and breaks it. And it breaks against the glass. Wouldn't it be funny if we were all died? And then boom, they stand up and stretch like, looks like the time is upon us. It's been fun. And a fucking portal opens up under their goddamn feet. I cannot stress this more. They just disappear out from under their asses. Yeeted. I could hear Dazai scream, fade into nothing, and then it closed, and the cells were just empty. And I'm not even fucking surprised. I hope they're living their awful lives out there. I'm going to get fired, aren't I? They're going to do an investigation. Next thing you know it, I'm the one in that cell. Just looked around and boom, there's a hand coming out of nowhere and slapping a thank you note down. XOXO, sorry, LOL. Sure, alright, whatever. Just another fucking day at work. Yeah!